Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with tech and sports and daily refinement. We've helped thousands of people save time and make more money by improving their online stores. Check out patreon.com/the Resellers Podcast for thousands of hours of full-length ad-free podcasts and coaching calls. Join our Facebook group with thousands of sellers making the transition from hobby to business. See you in the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with tech and sports and daily refinement. Today, we want to talk about the real reason why everyone is here and everyone listens, which is we want our bank accounts to go up. But I want to give you some context here. You said something that kind of helped me a little bit because I think you told Isaiah that you also want the bank account to go up a lot.
Yes.
And for some reason, that hadn't occurred to me. Like I hadn't thought, don't we want our bank accounts to go up a lot? Like not just a little bit or just enough to pay our bills, but why not way more than our bills?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? So when we talk about you doing 50 years of work every year, right? So $250 a day for the whole week is sometimes what people do in an entire year. It's an anchor store every couple of weeks or every week. Now that concept though, I didn't think about that as like 104 paychecks a week because people get 2 paychecks a month. All right, how many is that? They get 24 paychecks. That's like getting 24 paychecks a week. I can wrap my head around that. 24 paychecks a week is ridiculous. Your bank account's going up a lot.
Yeah, it's a great concept. And we spent a lot of time talking about this in the $100,000 call this week. And I went pretty hard on it, like really hard, where like I received messages afterward. Like I went pretty hard on it. But like ultimately, like that's the most important thing really in the world. Like we have to be improving and our bank account has to go up. Otherwise, we're going to end up homeless or end up in a bad predicament. So like, as we've been talking about for years now, all the costs are increasing. So like just getting by or like reseller paycheck to paycheck, like that doesn't work, man. Like we have to, like Isaiah was like, I need to save like this much for my bills, this and that, this and that. And I'm like, all right, so if you need to save $32 a day for the bills, let's try to make $320 extra dollars a day. Like what's wrong with that?
Yep.
And if you strive to make an extra $300 a day where your savings goal is $32, like imagine what type of beautiful position you would be in if you shot so far above your goal. But I think like a lot of times when we set these goals, like that's like the goal is like the astronomical like goal line where like we should set a very far goal line way past whatever we need or, whatever we need to get by.
Yeah, it's the ultimate goal to keep you excited and then the most patience to do it right slowly from the beginning. And this morning I was thinking, if you have 50 items in your store, 50 to 100 items in your store, and you sell one $20 profit item a day, and you just replace it, then your bank account goes up $20 every day. With that small of an example, you don't need hundreds or thousands of items for your bank account to go up. You need enough items where you sell one a day. And in the beginning, since you're looking, I listened to the car parts call this week, and somebody mentioned a bird dog fee. Mm-hmm. If you're really in a tough spot, reseller bird dog is real. There are millions of resellers who will pay you to find them an item. Sure. Today.
Right. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
And like, if let's say we need to save an extra $50 per day in order to pay all of our bills, yep. Like the person who has a plan to make enough money where they save $50 a day is a totally different plan from someone that has a plan to save an extra $500 per day.
That's right.
Like $50 per day is like action, but $500 extra per day is massive action. And that's a different schedule. That's a different way of moving. That's a different way of getting things done. That's a different purpose altogether when you have such a huge goal that you're trying to do. Like that person is getting their listings done. That person is studying to pick up better items. And that person is doing all the right things because the goal is so large. Like an extra $50 a day, like you can make that panhandling. Like you don't need a goal for that. You wake up and pick the right corner to panhandle, you can make an extra $50 per day. If you sat out there for an 8-hour shift, you can make an extra $50 per day. But like for an extra $500 per day, like panhandling might not cut it. Like you need to take a different course of action. And in order to do that, you need 15 people panhandling, 5 is going to go to overhead, and then 10 is going to be your profit. So you need, in order to get $500 extra per day, it's a whole different mindset, and it's a whole different state of action, whole different size, and a whole different scale. But like an extra $500 a day, like most people don't need that. Like, so everything changes, your lifestyle changes for the better as long as we take the action necessary to put ourselves in that position where we do have an abundance in our bank account. Everyone wants an abundance of inventory. We want to be inventory rich, cash poor. Why aren't we just running businesses where we have an abundance of money in the bank account? Be smart, keep your spending, stay disciplined, don't overbuy, only buy quality items that meet your metrics, are going to sell within the parameter that you have set forth.
And if this week you have $500 for spending, this is a basic example for buying new goods. So let's say 700, 100 a day. And you know that that's your budget. And if you think, if I spend 1,000 instead of 700, the 300 comes out of the bank account, the opposite direction, negative, and your goal is to have the bank account grow, maybe that can help you grow. Because what people are doing is they're borrowing from the future to get stuff now, and they think it's just unrealized profit sitting in my store. But that's not unrealized profit. You can't spend unrealized profit.
No, you can't. That's not a real thing. And like borrowing from the future as a business owner, the interest is almost insurmountable for it to pay off. Like you really, and that's what I was telling people on the 100,000 call. Like I always stuck with a piece budget per week, which roughly would give me $1 budget per week. And if I was going to overspend, you best believe it was a deal of a lifetime. It was not like they were saying, what if it's good stuff? That's not good enough to overspend. What if it's great stuff? That's not good enough to overspend. If you're going to overspend, it should be a deal of a lifetime in order for you to go into your piggy bank and spend this money that belonged to your business and overspend above what your budget was. And I just think that like, it's not painful enough for people when they spend their business's money.
Yeah.
It's super painful to spend the money of the business for me personally.
Because you feel like why is it so painful for you to spend the business's money? And for others, it's so frivolous.
Because I know what my budget is.
Yeah.
And to spend over that, it's stealing from your business. Like you're a thief. You're a thief of your own business. And should be locked under the business jail if you are going to steal from your own business.
And you feel the same way about time.
Absolutely. Those two things are the two most important commodities. And if you steal from yourself, you steal your time, or if you steal your business's money, you are a thief. You're a thief of time and a thief of your business's money. Or your personal expenses. If you overspend and you ball out on Friday night, you're a thief.
That makes sense. I think I was trying to think about what you're buying, because we've been talking about this week. What are you buying with that extra savings, with that extra money? You're buying security. That's number one, because Isaiah brought up what happens if you get wiped out. That happens to everyone. And if you don't have an emergency fund, you're discounting items, you're slashing prices, you're running auctions, you're messaging every single buyer. So that's a tough situation to be in.
So one of the metrics that we're keeping track of in the 100,000 call, I said, everybody check your bank account right now.
Yep.
Give everybody 3 minutes. Check your bank account. Write down the number. Next week, tell us the percent increase or the percent decrease. I'm not worried about how much money you have exactly to the dollar. That's none of my business. But we have to come in here and say, I'm 3.5% up. I'm 20% up, depending on where your bank account is and how much you did well. But if you come week after week and you're minus 7%, minus 12%, minus 3%, obviously you're moving in the wrong direction. And a lot of people were saying like, oh, well, I have this big expense coming up, or next week I have to pay the rent or mortgage, so my bank account is going to decrease, or, I have to get a washer and a dryer. That's great. You have to make enough money to pay all of your bills, pay for the unforeseen circumstance, and what? And have your bank account grow. Just because you have to spend money doesn't give you a get out of jail free card for not having your bank account grow. If I have to get a washer and dryer, so be it, but my bank account will grow.
Yep.
If I don't have to get a washer and dryer, then it grows that much more.
That's right.
If Isaiah doesn't catch a flat or his radiator doesn't go out, he still has to buy the radiator and come back next week and tell me that his bank account has gone up.
Yep.
It's not an excuse to pay for a radiator and come in and say my bank account went down. If you work a 9 to 5 and you have a set flat fee, okay, you have an excuse. My radiator went out, so my bank account went down because I work hourly, 40 hours a week. No problem. We don't do that. We have the ability to make sure that our income goes up week over week over week, no matter what's going on. I've had a million things happen, and people talk about, oh, I got to spend money on this and this and this. Across all of the businesses, I might spend the most money out of anybody in the group. But the bank account continues to go up. You have to buy that. You have to spend that. The bank account still needs to go up. Bank account going down under no circumstances. There is no valid reason or excuse for the bank account to go down continuously week over week.
I'm reading this book right now called 168 Hours. And this lady is like documenting what high performers do in their day that lower performer people don't do. And the high performance people have way more problems, like way more problems, because so much more happens in their life. They have like the same percentage of problems, but they do way more things. And the higher you move up the food chain, the more plan Bs there are for things that don't go. Because it's like you're running 4 businesses, 5 businesses, you've got 2 kids, you've got 2 jobs. Now there's like all these things. And the higher that moves up, the less people are surprised when something goes wrong, because they already know with this much going on, something's got to give, and they've already planned for that.
Absolutely. Like I just sent a whole crew up to North Florida. I knew before we left, we were going to catch probably 3 flat tires on the way. How many do you think we caught? We caught 3. Do you think I just sent them on the road with no tires? No, I sent them on the road with 10 tires. But that plan A, plan B, plan C cost money.
Yeah, it costs money.
But that's not a reason. That's not an excuse for not the bank account to go up.
That's right. Well, because you can't say that to your employee. This week, there are more bills than expected, so you don't get paid.
Yeah, you're good, but I'm going to go home and grab the steak dinner anyways. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. All of that is our responsibility. And if we don't have employees, we don't have this overhead, then what reason or excuse do we really have for the bank account not to go up? The number one reason why your bank account is not going up is because you are not disciplined with your spending on inventory. That's the number one reason for resellers why their bank account does not go up.
That's right. And resellers are making such a high profit per item in general.
That's what I was saying. Sorry to interrupt. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
We're making 5, 10, 50 times our investment and we're broke.
That's right. That's right. On a coffee shop sometimes sells something for $5. At the end of the day, they make 50 cents. A reseller will turn 50 cents into $5. Still be broke. But I was just thinking about this. A lot of people come to the group and say, I need enough money to pay my bills, right? X amount, $4,000 a month. The thing is, that's not the point of the group. We want your bank account to go up each month. If you're just paying your bills is the plan, anything goes wrong in that month, you don't pay your bills.
Yeah, done.
That's so this week I've been telling people, at least set your goal at twice your bills, because you paying your bills as a D-. That means you just barely passed, but like you below your bill is failing. You are
right.
negative.
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
So you need 4,000, you make 4,000 at the D-. Let's set the goal higher so you can get an A. And that's exciting.
Absolutely. Like if you fail to pay the bills, absolutely right. That's an F. Yeah. If you are just getting by and have nothing to show for all of your work other than bills are paid and I'm just alive breathing, absolutely, that's a D minus. Like the double whatever sort of overhead you have or expenses or income, that's absolutely the right train of thought and where people need to be. And thinking like that is different action and a different responsibility from what you're doing today.
Yeah. And that's the, you got to slowly climb out of that. Like, today, like I was just trying to think about how do you go from you can only afford chips and a drink to thinking I need to have enough money for 10 drinks and 10 chips. But how does it grow from that?
So, back in the day when I was working at CVS, I had a kid. I was young, 18 years old. After all of my bills and everything, I used to get paid $314 a week for working 50 hours. After all of my bills and everything were paid, I had $7 a week to get by. So some days I bought a drink, some days I bought a soda. And eventually you get to the point where like that doesn't work anymore. Like that can't work forever. And then you figure out, let me forego the trip or a drink for a week. And then you save $7. Let me forego. And eventually you start to save a couple of dollars and then you have different opportunities. And I think that resellers, they never get to the point where they save their money and have different opportunities. So like for you, you've built a nice business, you built a nice bankroll. And now the amount of opportunities that has opened doors is so abundant where like it's impossible to keep up. But like we have to save our money, make responsible buying decisions so that way we can level up. Like if you're constantly just getting by, it's difficult to get out of that cycle. It's a vicious cycle, probably set up by design. Just getting by is a vicious cycle. You have to, make some concessions, save some money, so that way you can make a different type of buy, a different type of investment to pull yourself up to a different level. Because when you pull yourself up to the next level comes different opportunities and things get better than just getting by. So like when I was flat broke, I had no opportunities. Once I started saving a couple dollars, I had different opportunities. That gave me the opportunity to save $35 and then go out and buy a T-Mobile Sidekick and get my eyes opened into arbitrage between Craigslist and eBay. But if I didn't have the $35, it's just a dream. I'm looking at it and I never get to experience, I never get to have that opportunity. But then if you can save up more money, then you have larger opportunities and you can make bigger plays, and things in business become easier when you're not constantly struggling 24 hours a day.
This is exactly right. And this is what the car park call inspired me. Somebody at the lot maybe has no money. They find something valuable. They call somebody. That person tips them $20 for finding the item. That person buys that part. Maybe they're going to make $100 on the item, selling it, right? And then there's at the highest level, there's a person that owns the junkyard.
Sure.
That person, you can't buy the junkyard just getting by. There's no money left to buy a junkyard. To buy a pick and pull, you need to have been disciplined for a long time to save enough money to do that.
Tons.
But it starts at it's not like there's no opportunities though. You can start at the very beginning, and being a bird dog for a store will teach you a lot. That's where Mel kind of was unlocking a lot of ideas for people by saying she picked differently for Tom than for herself. And everybody thought, oh, wow, okay, that's different. But then if you were to think about your business as a separate entity, and it's not you treating yourself to more inventory, but it's this company that you work for, and it's in your best interest to do that, maybe it's a bit different. Because people don't spend Walgreens money when they work there.
No, absolutely not. And if you do, you get fired.
Yeah,
if you take $20 out the register and you're going to pay them back $25 later, you get fired. They don't even give you the opportunity to take it out the front door.
Yep.
But like you said, like there's a separation between yourself and your business. It's not one thing. Like the IRS looks at you guys separately, your business and you. So in order to take any of that money, commingle any of that money, spend any of that money irresponsible, you're really doing yourself and your business a disservice. It's two separate entities, two separate things, and we have to be smart on both ends.
I think that's exactly right. If you do what we say and you turn, let's say you turn $8 into $20 profit, and you think of that as 2.5 opportunities now, before you had one opportunity, you had one item, you sold it, and now you have 2.5 opportunities. You put half an opportunity on ice in your savings account, get 2 more opportunities, but you have just always compounded your opportunities. So now you're, 4 turns into 8 turns into 16. Then when somebody calls you and says, this is $50,000, you can say, I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll send a guy on an airplane tomorrow. But
yeah,
I've compounded the eBay reselling opportunity even further than that by opening businesses and buying real estate with the money that I made from eBay. So like the opportunities and the compounding and the discipline and being smart with your spending are limitless. And for me, even still, like I'm just getting started with the compounding and more options and opportunities. So like, but it all started with one item, doubling the money, and then buying 2 more and then having 4 items worth of money. That's all where it started. So bought one item, sold it, did it again, bought a Tommy Bahama shirt, sold it, did it again. Didn't try other things, didn't experiment with other things, sold it. I went out and did the same thing over and over again, all the way up until this day. It's just buying stuff that people want, that's in demand for the right return, the right spread, the right margin, and just doing it continuously over and over again. And like you said, you buy one item, you sell it, you get 2.5 opportunities. Half the opportunity goes in the bank, AKA a portion of the money goes to the bank. 2 portions of the money goes back to replacing the item that's sold, plus an additional item to grow your business, which is still great because you still have money coming to your bank every single sale and you're growing your business. But I've also taken very long stretches where I plateaued the business. So I'm buying one item, getting 2.5 opportunities, using the original investment, replacing the item, not buying 2, replacing the item that's sold, and then scraping off the additional item and the half the opportunity. And I stayed long stretches of my eBay career in plateaus where I was just replacing the item and pushing everything else to the bank account. I did it at 30 items a day, at 250 items a day. My average cost of goods was $4, which brings $1,000 in cost of goods daily. But it's not a new $1,000 every single day. The business and the customers are buying my inventory every single day because I'm using the same $1,000 day in and day out. So I have 1,000, I buy 250 items, I sell 250 items. My eBay sales are $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a day, but I'm just keeping the same $1,000 a day inside of the business and pushing over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 every single day to the bank account. And I did that for years. Ever since we started the group, I was at 250 items a day. So it doesn't take a lot of money to do this. It just takes the spread. And you can't spend 8, sell something for 14, and only have $2 left over. That doesn't work. There's not enough spread. You have to at least 3 times after fees if you want this to work on a growth stage and save money, or a plateau stage and save a lot of money.
This is the part that it's a little, for me, it took many years to figure this out. The buying one and getting 2.5 back, if you put all 2.5 back in, you don't develop that habit of the half going into your bank account. And that habit is really important because later when you stop growing and you can now add 1.5 in, that's the part that is the most exciting part. Because if you are constantly, you grow from 2 listings a day to 5 listings a day to 10 to 15 to 20, and you stay ahead of you, you're out buying your sales. Then when your sales stop and your spending is at that level, you're out of business, or you got to slow down and you got to reduce your listing goal. We all know how well eBay takes to reducing anything.
If you take 2.5 opportunities and you put that back in your store, you are inventory rich, cash poor. You have no money. You have all the inventory, no money. So but it all starts with buying good enough items where you have the spread, where you can afford a second item, the money that you're putting away is actually worthwhile and adds up. So like if you're putting away $10 per sale and you sell 10 items a day and you're going out replacing the first item, buying a second item to grow your store, saving 10 per day, you're saving $100 per day. That's $3,000 a month. That starts to add up really quickly. $20 a day, $150 a day. Your store is still growing. You're still replacing every item that's sold, but your bank account goes up naturally, organic, and you don't have to do anything differently. Just stay disciplined and stick to the buying that your company and your business needs.
And I think this is where you can start to increase your goal to the point where it's more than your bills, or twice as many as your bills, or 3 times as much as your bills. And I think there's some natural points where you can move up to the next level, and it doesn't, like, let's say it only costs you, let's say you were to go from 250 to 500 a day. You would know it's an extra $1,000 a day you would need to spend to get that going, but you've already banked years of money to do that. So the growth you're not worried about the growth because you took a long time before growing. You could afford the growth.
But there's nothing to afford, because since you have the spread and the margin, if my overhead was $1,000 a day at 250 items, and now I go to 500 items and my overhead is $2,000 a day, I'm already selling $6,000 or $7,000 a day.
I see.
So I'm still banking a huge amount, just a little bit left for a little while until the store catches up. I have never run eBay at a deficit. Never.
Yeah.
Even with the growth. So at 250 items a day, $1,000 in cost of goods, the output from that, because of the spread, because I was buying good items that had good profit, was $6,000 or $7,000 a day in sales. Who cares? Doubling that, I could go to 500 and not even blink an eye and still push $4,000 or $5,000 a day into my bank account. And then once it does catch up, plateau again at 500 sales, 500 listings, maybe then you're pushing $10,000 or $12,000 a day into your.
I think I finally get it now. You're just scraping less off the top.
Just a tiny bit less. That's it.
Yeah. But you're not scraping all of it.
No, never, ever.
Yeah.
But even at 30 a day, fine. You want to go to 40 a day? We should still be selling, $30 average sale price. You still should be up around $1,000 a day.
Yeah.
You should still be sliding over several $100s a day. And what is buying 10 more items? Who cares? You're still putting over several $100s a day into your savings account.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, that is interesting. You can go from 250 to 500, and you might not. It's barely noticeable, actually.
It's fine because, like you said, you have several years of totally stacking cash and saving money.
Yeah.
Now you're just gonna stack a little less for maybe 8 to 10 months.
While it catches up.
You're making money. As I said, a lot of people like to say, like, oh, I'm in grow mode, so it's okay not to be profitable. That's crap. That's crap. I have never run eBay at a deficit because the items were good enough to afford me the margin. If you buy crap items, sure, you probably run eBay at a deficit. But why the hell are we working for free? That's crazy.
I just want to get my money back is the thought. But that can't be your thought when you're buying the item. It's got to be, this is a home run. And that post in the group where someone was grateful for the opportunity for eBay. Yeah. And I was just thinking, you can ask the group before you buy something. Go through the whole store, get the 3 items you think that are the best, that are going to yield the most profit, post it in the group, double check, go home, make 3 listings, post all 3 and say, what do you guys think? You could do that over and over again. You have like a 0% chance of failing.
Dude, the way it's set up now, I went to the brick and mortars today with my son and we were pricing out some concert shirts. Some of them were obscure. One of them was a Pearl Jam shirt that I wasn't sure what tour it was from. And I said, take out Google Lens, see if it picks it up. Picked up exactly what tour it was. And I'm like, dude, when I first started doing this, there were no cell phones and I would have to come home and find this shirt somewhere on the internet and hope somebody had it. Now we got phones at our disposal. We have Google Lens. We have comps. We have TRP. There is no excuse for us to buy an item and lose money on items in 2023. If you're buying items and breaking even or losing money, shame on you. Every single item we purchase in 2023 or forward should be a 100% chance of being a profitable item. If it's not, the only answer to that is I took a gamble, I guessed. Those are the only two answers. Yeah. Otherwise, every single item you pick up is guaranteed profit from 2023 forward. There's not a shirt that you cannot find on Google Lens anymore. Google Lens knows exactly what shirt you're wearing right now.
That's right. But okay, there are how many businesses are there that you can buy something and then you can next time have two things to sell and your savings account went up? This is a very unusual situation. And like in the group, we've been talking a lot, or I've been talking a lot lately about the FIRE movement and people trying to retire early. And the number one thing that people in the FIRE community have is a 70% or higher savings rate. That's how they do it. People keep asking how they do it. They save 70% of their money and they don't upgrade their lifestyle. They just stay at that. And then over the course of 10 to 20 years, they bank a year every year they work or more. So banking a year every single day you work, it adds up really fast.
Right. And like the great thing about America is like you could upgrade your lifestyle and still save 70% more. Just make more money.
Thank you for listening to the Resellers Podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. If you'd like to listen to the full episode, please check us out at patreon.com/the Resellers Podcast for all information, all our full-length episodes, over thousands of hours of coaching, and our Facebook mentorship group, which is $35 per month, just about $1 a day to help you get to the next level. We appreciate you guys. See you next time.